Hey gang, what's going on? Welcome to episode 38. This is a live production of the Client by Client podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a repeat offender, thank you so much for returning, and thank you for being here. Wherever you're watching and whoever you are, let me know that you're here live by commenting live. If you're watching the replay, drop a replay. Would love to say hello to you at some point in time later in my and your day. We're going to be talking about if you've ever wondered what needs to happen once you've made the sale, once you've got the money, once you've landed the client, but maybe you don't have systems yet, or you have a system there, but you haven't really had enough people through it just yet to know if it's the right thing. Maybe you don't have anything in place. I'm going to be sharing with you what works for me, what I do, and what we have our Get Client students do. That way you have some ideas for increasing the longevity of the client inside your program, the chances that they'll return, and be excited about telling friends about you so that getting clients gets easier over time. That said, let's hop in and let's bring this to life. Hey, what's up? Jeremy here from whatupjeremy.com, back with another episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Let's talk about, before we get into today's episode, what went down in the last episode of Client by Client. And I really came at you guys from left field. In comparison to many of the coaches that you've invested in, courses that you've gone through, membership programs that you're a part of, everyone's going to tell you inside of there how to make your website. You got to go to WordPress, use Squarespace, do this, do that, use Wix. Wix is the new thing. It's just as compatible. It's cheaper. But the reality is there's something so much more powerful and effective for online coaches in 2023 and beyond. And what I shared in there was very specific. It's to scrap your website and do this other thing instead. So if you've been working on and focus on having a fancy website, making your website up to par, making it look like the other coaches in your space. You have their other websites up in your tabs, and you're making it look like theirs, or maybe you have someone designing your website and you're saying, hey, do this from this person's website, copy what Jeremy's doing over here, check out this thing. Well, I might be able to save you a ton of time and money. You need to backtrack one episode, though, to get the full framework, get the full methodology and my mindset for what to do instead. If you're wanting more calls on your calendar and for more clients to be signing up consistently, that's what went down yesterday in episode 37. But today, let's talk about what happens post-sale. So a lot of what we talk about here is how you get the client. But part of my mission with this show is to expand your perspective. But part of my mission with this show is to help you expand your perspective. And one of the things that will help grow your business in the long term is how you make it easier on yourself long term for getting clients. See, I want for every year in your journey of online coaching for it to get easier for you. And part of that means having systems in place once you've gotten the client. Because part of what will make it easier for you to generate revenue down the road is having repeat clients. Is that you wowed a client so much and you have so much more to work on and so much more to do that it doesn't make sense for them to leave. And so they continue to invest in themselves and they continue to stay in your program. So that's less marketing you have to do to go and acquire another customer because you already got one. So this increases the lifetime value and makes it so much easier for your business to grow over a long period of time. And that all starts with having the beginnings and inklings of a system post-sale, and then starting to do things to it to make it better, to make it more robust, and for it to work like gangbusters. If you don't get today's episode right, there's really two things that happen. The first thing that happens is that your clients experience buyer's remorse. It's that, let's be honest here, guys, there are many other coaches that your clients can go with, many who have more books, best-selling titles, more accolades, more years, more certifications, more experience, way more money, way more success stories than you. And so when a prospect ponies up and they invest, there's a lot of thoughts that go through their head. Think back to any big purchase you've made over the last couple years. Could have been a computer, could have been a car, could have been a house, could have been something anywhere in between or below. And when you make a big investment and you do it uninformed, you do it rushed, you do it without confiding in the people that you do, there is this little thing that happens that's called buyer's remorse. And what buyer's remorse really is your clients second guessing their investment. They might second guess themselves. And what we don't want for them to second guess is you and your ability to help them and to deliver. So the first thing that happens if you get this wrong is that your clients experience buyer's remorse, and then worse, they end up asking for a refund. Now, your boy has saved many a refund in his time. But that's not always the case. And refunds and people choosing to quit or cancel is something that comes with the life of an online coach. It's just things that you have to deal with. And there are many reasons why someone could quit, give up on themselves, and not choose to continue staying in. And what I don't want is for that reason to have been preventable. And when a client does request, even if you know what to do and you save it, it is not fun to deal with. It can take the wind out of your sails, even when everything else is going right in your business. There's one bad apple, this one person who wants to quit, maybe not a bad apple, but this one person, so to say, who is second guessing themselves or maybe second guessing you. And even if you save it, it doesn't feel great. It's not something that you want to deal with. So the first thing that happens is that your clients experience buyer's remorse, and then worse, they ask for a refund and maybe even go so far as to not even asking for the refund, but going to their credit card company and disputing the charge. And the higher ticket the charge, the more they're going to press the brakes on everything that's going on in your account, in your Stripe, in your PayPal. The more consequences you're going to have should that refund get processed, and should you not be able to have a conversation with the client. That's the worst thing that can happen. The second thing that happens is that you get a client. The second thing that happens if you don't get this right is you get client, and that's it. They buy from you once, they do the thing, and then they go away forever. And when that happens, your confidence will start to go down because you're wondering why you were good enough to land the client, but why weren't you good enough for them to continue on? And when you don't have any clients continuing on, that even makes your confidence suffer worse. And moreover, there's this concept of lifetime value, is that you can get a client once and there's $5,000, awesome. But what if that one client brought you $25,000 over a lifetime? If we are only thinking in the short-sightedness of landing the client, we lose out on the wider perspective of the lifetime value of that human being. And so the second thing that happens when you don't get today's episode right is you got the client, but then that's it. And I know for many of you right now, you want the client and would be so happy and elated with that. But I promise you, when you aim at lifetime value and you aim at them never going anywhere, you create a magical effect in your business that many coaches never get to experience because they aren't able to stay in business long enough to do it. Thing number one that happens is that your clients get buyer's remorse and they maybe even refund or go so far as to asking for a refund. And second is that you get the client once and then they never continue investing through them. They never continue investing in your program. And therefore you create no lifetime value. So your cost of acquiring a customer is way more expensive than your competitors. You have to spend more time marketing, and this leaves you less time with your clients, less time on your business, less time creating and living that epic life that you're going after. That being said, let's talk about the 3 things I want for you to think about and to implement and install in your business and everything to do post-sale. Let's start by talking about what happens when you run their credit card. That's really post-sale, right? So in my process, I typically have a authorization form, and when I'm doing sales calls more often. So let's just think in the sales call aspect of things. Because right now we're not doing sales calls. I'm not doing sales calls right now. We have an application process and we close in the DM. But let's talk about sales calls. You never let a prospect who's ready to make the investment leave the call without making the investment, right? So there needs to be a method for you to collect their payment. And I think a lot of coaches overcomplicate this. I use Stripe, and in Stripe I have my coaching program, Get Clients, and there are 2 or 3 options for investing. There's pay in full, there's a 2 pay, and then there's a 3 pay, and there might be the off chance that we're doing a promotion once or twice a year where there might be another payment option that's inside of there. The last option that I have in there is payment authorization. So rather than me take my brand new client's credit card information over the phone and them kind of wondering, am I going to write it down? Am I going to throw it away? Am I going to use this for other things? Which they trust you already. They trust me already, but the world is still a shady place and everyone's been had, right? Everyone's gotten got at one point in time or another in this economy. So instead of me collecting their information over Zoom while I might be recording and doing all of that and having them think about what's going to happen, my credit card info, they're about to hand over more money than they've probably handed over in a while since buying their house or buying their car. So what I do is I create a $1 authorization payment in my Stripe, and I create the payment link for it, and I send them that link in the Zoom chat. So basically, there's come to a point in a conversation where I say, and I've repeated, where do you think we should go from here? I've communicated the price to them, the investment to join today. They're clear on the benefits and how it would help them because we've just sat there for 45 minutes creating a plan together. And then they say, all right, let's do this. I'm in. You say, okay, great. So honored to be working with you. Um, let's talk about what our next steps are going to be. First step is going to be this, second step is this, third step is this. And usually what I'm going to say along those lines is going to be, first thing that we need to do is get you registered. While we're getting you registered, I'm going to be preparing your welcome post and getting you your next steps ready. So I'm going to pop this link into the Zoom. All I need for you to do is to click that, and then that's where you're going to put in your credit card information. Did you want to use Visa, American Express, MasterCard? What works best for you? I usually ask that right before this, but I'll ask that to get the conversation going. Is I can do Visa, American Express, Discover, what works best. They're going to say, definitely want to do it on Amex. Okay, cool. Let me grab the link for you. I'm not going to say, let me grab the payment form. I'm not going to say, let me grab the checkout link. I'm talking about registering, and I'm talking about a link. They know already what is up. We're not pulling one over on them. We've talked about the price already. You don't need to be super jargony at this point. Let me get you registered. Let me grab the link. Okay, I threw the registration link in the chat. Go ahead and grab that. And while you're filling out your information, I'm going to be preparing your welcome post. What that would be is like a post on my story where I say welcome to the program. And then another one is going to be a post in the group. So here's a bonus tip for you. When someone joins your coaching program, every single time without fail, you should be putting them on your story on Instagram and Facebook and wherever else you're doing story that says, welcome, congratulations to our newest Get Clients member. Congratulations to our newest coaching program member. And you use a picture of them with their permission. I usually ask them, do you have a photo you prefer I use, or am I free to go and choose the one I want? And then I use the story function in Instagram. I put together the slide and I welcome them. I usually tag them if they have an Instagram account. That way the world can see that my program is growing, that people are making big, important decisions today, and they're making them in my favor to join my program. So think of someone who's on the fence watching my story, or someone who has a call booked with me and they're watching my story and they're seeing new clients joining my program. Is that going to increase the likelihood that they show up for the call, show up on time, and are ready by the end of it to sign up too? So it creates a little bit of that FOMO. It creates the feeling of increase to your following because they see you growing, and people want to be associated with others who are increasing and others who are growing. They want to affiliate with those kinds of people. And so you're more likely to get more leads, more comments, and for that to strengthen other people who have thought about booking a call with you, who are booking a call with you, already have one scheduled in, or maybe they're on the fence. They ended the call, kind of not sure, needing to talk to wife or husband or whatever. And now they're going to see others doing it, and people don't want to miss out. This is why the burger joint with a longer line will always do more business and outperform the hamburger joint that has no line, isn't busy, there's no demand. I'm a huge fan of In-N-Out Burger, and there's only a handful of times I've ever pulled up and that line is not zigzagged through the entire parking lot. Or when I go in and I can just walk into the register and order. But I'm going to no matter what because I want my In-N-Out Burger. And that's, for me, it's a better burger than anywhere else. And so I choose to continue giving them their money. We talked about lifetime value and those things already at a high level. This is creating that effect. People want to go where it's busy because that shows trust from the market. And that's an easy way for us as humans to make our decisions. It's based on what others want and what others are wanting or going towards. And that's going to affirm, or that's going to change and redirect our decision depending how that is. So I'm giving some context here for the conversation. And what I've done at this point is given them an authorization link. It's a registration link for $1. And that $1 puts them in my Stripe system, and then I go and add my program to it. So just to give you guys some logistical things, we've given you a bonus tip already too, is to add them to your story. The second bonus tip inside of here, create a welcome post in your coaching program's Facebook group to welcome them in, that shares where they're from, where they've been, how they're going, who they help, because you asked these questions, or you ask questions to pull these important details out at the beginning of the call. And I'm a business coach, so I'm going to ask who they help, how it works, how much it costs, where were they at, how they get here. I'm going to ask about their family, where they live, what their dreams and aspirations are. And I'm going to include the not so personal details inside of there. Inside of a post, I'm gonna grab a picture of them, welcome them. Maybe it's a picture just from our Zoom chat, all right? And then bada bing, bada boom. Now my students can also see that my program's growing. We have a new member. They can welcome them, add them as friends, reach out, say, hey, welcome them into the family, do the whole nine. So I do all of that and I hit process. This brings us to tip number one. Actual thing number one is I don't do contracts or agreements, but I do a promise. And what the promise is it's a promise from my side, and there's a promise on their side. There's a verbal promise that we do at the end of the Zoom call before we go our own ways. And what I would recommend for you is to come up with your own version of these promises, but this is what I do. when I'm doing sales calls, which again, I'm not right now, there's no way for you to book a call with me. We're not taking sales calls or anything like that at this moment. Everything is done through the DM. But for you, something like this. So you process the transaction and it goes through. That's important. All right. That $1 goes through. You right then and there, you add the other package if you're doing it the way I do it, and you've collected the payment that you've agreed verbally upon, whether it's pay in full, pay in two, or some sort of payment plan. Then I'm gonna say, all right, let's say I'm talking to Jimmy on the other side of the Zoom. I'm gonna say, hey Jimmy, again, welcome to the family. Before we go our own separate ways for right now, just three things I need from you. Or I don't do contracts like that, but I do promises. So first, do you promise to implement quickly with the teachings and do your best along the way? Something like that. Okay, boom. Second, do you promise to ask questions and to ask for feedback early and often before you get frustrated and things become overly complicated? Something like that. They're going to say, I promise. And then the last promise is, do you promise to tell friends and other colleagues about the program? Something like that. I word it way more eloquently when I'm in the actual flow of doing this. So let me see if I can get it out great. It's like, so Jimmy, again, welcome to the Get Clients program. So honored to be working with you. Before we break, just 3 promises that I need from you. Or I'm going to start this part over to make sure I get it really good for the episode. So that brings us all here and to my actual first point for everything to do post-sale. You've given them the registration link and they've made their investment, which is $1, and then you've added their package onto it, and if you're not doing that, you've collected the money that you've agreed upon verbally. It's a pay in full, it's a split pay, or it's a payment plan, all right? And you've collected, and that first payment has been processed. What you're going to do now is, and what I recommend doing is, and this brings us to our first tip here, right? We've given you some bonus tips along the way already. This brings us to thing number 1, which is promises. I don't do contracts and I don't do agreements because those are easily broken. But I think that when someone gives you their word and they do it verbally with eye contact, I think that bond is so much stronger than contracts and agreements and those sorts of things. You do what's best for you and your business, but what I do is promises. And I say, okay, just 3 quick promises before we break off and before you're kind of back off into regular life before you get going in the program. They're like, okay, yeah, what's up? I say, Jimmy, do you promise, if I'm talking to Jimmy, I say, Jimmy, first, do you promise to be quick to implement and to share your insights as you go? They're going to say, I promise. Okay, great. Second, do you promise to be quick to ask? Do you promise to ask questions and be quick to ask for feedback before things get complicated or you get frustrated? They say, I promise. Third, do you promise to share us out to your friends and colleagues who you think would be a fit for the program? I promise. All right, Jimmy, welcome to the Get Clients program. Welcome to the Get Clients family. So for you, I want you to think about 2 or 3 promises that would be great and favorable for your clients and also favorable for you with thing number 3. So the first promise was, do you promise to implement and share your insights? They're going to say yes, because that's also in their favor. They're going to get results through that, and your Facebook group is going to have more student posts. You're going to have more success stories and proof to show on your story. And then your clients are also going to be seeing that in your community. The second promise, do ask for questions and ask for feedback before you get frustrated. In coaching programs, it can feel like you're the newest one there. Questions are dumb. Is my question stupid? I don't want to look dumb. Make it okay for them to ask questions. And then also, if they ever don't ask the right question, if they're ever not showing up, not playing full out, but then they're complaining they're not getting results, you can think and bring back to the sales call you guys did together, your strategy session, and say, do you remember at the end of the call a couple promises we made to each other? Second promise was that you were going to ask for feedback fast and be quick to ask questions. And so what it goes to show is that those frustrations are easily overcame by just being faster to ask questions, which is also, I think, a big life lesson. And then third promise is, will they refer people they think are qualified for the program to me? Why would you think I would want that in there? Well, in my perfect prospect archetype, these people are word of mouth kings and queens. Is that when someone finds me, they don't want to keep me to themselves. They want to share me out with their entire world. They want to talk to their other friends who are coaches, their colleagues. They want to post in groups they're in. They want to go and share me from the treetops. That's what makes a 5-star, absolutely perfect prospect for me. Do all of my clients do that? No. Do I have clients who verbally tell me that they're not going to tell anybody else because they want to keep me as a bit of a secret to themselves in their industry? I have it happen all the time, and I try to take it as a compliment. But the biggest compliment I can be paid is you having the faith in me and the trust in me and loyalty to me to share me out to the people that you love the most. So at the end of it, I always ask, do you promise to share me out? And the reason why I do that is because every moment spent marketing and acquiring new leads and customers and clients are moments spent away from my coaching program and my coaching clients. So it only behooves them to refer people to us. And when every new student joins, the program gets even better. So there's benefits for them in there too. So thing number one is promises. I do this still on the Zoom call before we break apart or do anything else. I do this mano a mano. I do this person to person, eye to eye, heart to heart. And you can do this too. So what this looks like is at the end of your sales call, after you've accepted the payment, before you go your separate ways, have a little moment where you make some promises together and where you have them verbally promise to you the things that are going to help them get results in the program and things that are going to help you manage and maintain a growing and fruitful relationship with them. That's thing number one. The second thing, let's talk a little bit about systems and a little bit about follow-up. I think it's also important that when you get a new student to join your program, that there is an email that goes to them, something, a document that gets to their reality, that gets to them, that talks about their next steps and everything you went over with them in the call. So what I'd recommend doing is, if you don't do this right now, with your next client that you have sign up, write them the email that they need and then just copy that and save that into your drafts. So for me, what this says is, hey, Jimmy, welcome to the Get Clients program. So honored to be working with you. This email contains everything in regards to your Get Clients membership. Please bookmark this and save this in a safe place. And then it has the community and some information on the Get Clients group and a link to it and instructions for them to go and join it and to message me when they've done that. Second is support, how the group calls work, and if they have one-on-one, if we're offering one-on-one at that time, how that process works and what our next steps are for that. And then there might be something with like the Google Drive folder with their call recordings are going to go, or their worksheets. Maybe it's the workbook for the program. Third thing might be what to expect in the program and some logistical things if you're thinking about your own program and what that looks inside of here. And then days and times of the group call is also going to be inside of there. So you just want everything that you've covered with them and everything that's important for them to get the most out of the program inside of that email and for it to be easy to read. And then what I would also recommend you have in there is that they need to reply to that email to make sure that they got it. Number one, this keeps you out of spam. Number two, this creates some good correspondence and back and forth. And then now you're going to get a notification that they joined your Facebook group, that you're going to approve them in. You're going to tag them in that welcome post. You're going to welcome them so that everybody can go and be friends with them and everybody kind of knows who they are. Now you've done that once with your new client, save that into your drafts, and that's going to now become the email you're going to use as the template for your next client. So you're going to change the first name, change anything inside of there that's contextual, make it 1 to 5% better with your next 2 to 3 clients. And then what you can do is add this into your email service provider or add this into your systems to make it an automated thing. But it's still going to be a little manual to get this going because you have Stripe. You take their payment, you end the Zoom call, and then you're going to go over to your email service provider and add a tag to them. What this might say is like new client. And then you need an automation set up that fires off that email. So every email service provider is a little different. You're going to want to refer to the one that you're actively using for the best way to do this, but it's going to be a one email follow-up. And when you want to make this better, you would include a weekly email that reminds them 24 hours before the weekly group call for them to submit questions, for them to post their updates, for them to post any insights, and then to show up for the call and the Zoom link. So 1.0, your next client, write their welcome email with everything that they need. Save that into your drafts. Your next client, you're going to make it a little better, update it for them. And after doing that 2 to 3 times, you're going to take that into your ConvertKit or your Infusionsoft, your email service provider. You're going to set it up as an automated email that sends off anytime this thing happens, which is either a tag is added or a form or some trigger needs to happen in your service provider. Each one has their own wording for this usually, and it sends off that email. So if that's 1.0, it's writing it from your email, from Gmail and sending it. And then second is setting it, first is writing it out and sending it out personally by hand via Gmail. The second step to that is you're going to make it a little bit better with the next 2 to 3, 4 clients that you get. Step number 2, that's step 1. Step number 2 is going to be throwing this into your email service provider and making it automated whenever you add a tag onto a contact, a subscriber in your database, that this welcome email goes out. And then the third level to this is having an email that sends off every single week that they're in the program that reminds them of the upcoming group calls or what's going on in the program with a templated, duplicated email that sends off 24 hours before every weekly group call. That second is the email follow-up and then turning that into an automation that that informs clients of everything they need in the program and then also reminds them to come to your group calls. Thing number 3 for what to do after you get your next client and everything to do post-sale is I want for you to document out the first 24 hours and the first 7 days. You can go as long as up to their first 10 years in their journey with you, but I want you to zero in on what needs to happen in the first 24 hours and in the first 7 days. We talked at the beginning of this episode about buyer's remorse. The more that you can eliminate the chances that buyer remorse can creep up, the higher likelihood you're going to have a happy paying client who's getting results and telling the world about your program. So in the first 24 hours, we already have an email that's going out to them that has everything they need in the program. Awesome. That's kind of level 1. What if you added a personal touch to it? Like later on in the day, you send them a text from your cell phone that says, hey, just wrapping up my day. Just want to say welcome to the program again. How are you feeling after our call? Is what I'll usually say is, how are you feeling? I'll do that at some point in time between them making their first payment and the end of that same business day. So imagine right now, if you're getting clients and you're not doing this personal touch, what that can do. You can go like, there's an unlimited range of ideas we can come up with for what to do in the first 24 hours, 7 days, 1 month, 1 year. But making it you and making it personal is the best advice that I can give you. So maybe you send them something in the mail. I love doing Amazon and using books for this. So there's a couple books that I like to give every one of our Get Client students. I'll go on Amazon with their info because I got their credit card information. I got their shipping information now, like where they live. I'll go on Amazon and I'll go and buy these books and I'll go and just automatically send them with my Prime, no shipping, bada bing, bada boom. And then now I'm going to get a text from them or a post in the group 2 or 3 days from now with the pictures of the book, and they're excited and like they're so jazzed and they weren't expecting it. So you can totally build this into your cost of your coaching program, and these little things that cost less than $20, guys, or that cost you just a minute of your day go so far in eliminating that buyer's remorse, because even with your happiest clients, they might be feeling a little bit of butterflies in their stomach about joining your program because it was a lot of money or because they haven't done anything like this before, or it's been a while since they've been in a coaching program. This is a big moment for them. And the more that you can do to make this a personal experience, a personalized experience, the more they're going to feel like this is the right thing for them, that they're in the right place, that this was the right decision. And now they can rest assured and show up with the right energy in your program. So I want for you to write out what happens in the first 24 hours and make it a document, a living document that you visit every quarter, every client maybe right now. What happens in the first 7 days? Couple days in, do you touch base with them? Couple days in, do you give them a quick call? Do you tag them in a post? What needs to happen in the perfect customer journey? What do they need to watch is what I would be thinking about, like in your program. So what I do is when they join, they got the email, they click the link. And also, when someone joins my program, I'm going to say your next step is to join the Facebook group. It's to join our free community, or it's to join our community. So my system should have just sent off an email, or it'll land there in the next couple minutes, and up at the top of the email is your link to join. So you'll want to make sure that you have that. That's their ticket into the group. I don't give them the link manually unless there's some sort of issue. They need to go to the email and click the link. So now we verified they got the email. They're clicking the link. They're joining the group. I hit approve once they've joined the group. I'm giving you guys really the back end, open the kimono here. So back end and open the kimono, maybe not the right things to be going together here, but I think you're getting what I'm getting at. The next thing I do is I tag them in the right place to be in the program because it's brand new. They're probably in Facebook groups, so they're not in my Get Clients group. They're not in my coaching program group, so it's a little different. Everyone does these differently. There's no rule book on how to use groups the right way. So what I do is I have a welcome video and I have a whole guide that's their welcome and kind of like syllabus for the program. I'm going to tag them in there and say, hey, Jimmy, this is the best place to start. Have a watch, and then let me know if you have any questions here in the comments. And then there's dozens of got it. Because in that video, I say, make sure you comment got it below at the end of it. So there's all these got it comments and then questions or thoughts or emojis and those sorts of things. So what do they need to watch? Tag them in it and make sure those resources get to them. Second, what do they need to do? Do they need to comment on that welcome post? Then do they need to do a welcome post? Maybe in your flow, you don't do what I do and you have them do a welcome post as part of their things. Make sure they know to do that and they know how to do that, what's expected. Lastly, what do they need to believe? What's going to make their journey just so smooth and make them a perfect client in terms of results and case study, right? Because when you get a case study success story, that means that they got the results in your program, which is like, I think, the ultimate benefit of joining a coaching program, right? Or at least the basic that we're all here for, joining a coaching program. So what do they need to believe? How can you reaffirm that? Maybe there are posts in your group. Maybe there's a case study section that you've collected all the wins. Tag them in there so they can go and check them out so they know what to be expecting. And then they'll also know where to go and post their wins because you're soliciting for them. And now you're going to be getting more of them and you have more proof to share on your story that reaffirms to your clients why they should be in your program. They made the right decision. And that reaffirms with those who are on the fence, are thinking about booking a call, or who have booked a call already, to make the right decision, to show up for that call, to show up on time, to play full out, and to join at the end of that call, and to make that wise decision to invest in themselves and to join your coaching program. Thing number 3, map out the customer journey, the first 24 hours, the first 7 days, and anywhere in between there. What do they need to watch? What do they need to do? And what do they need to believe in order to make it happen? So guys, this is the flow, and this is everything to do post-sale. Have a promises conversation with them where they agree to the things that are going to help them be a success in your program. Second, follow up and let them know everything they need to know about your program, and make sure that you have a system around it as time goes on. You don't need that if you're just starting out. And make that system 1.0 and just make it 1% better with each new sign up that you have in your program. And lastly, map out the first 24 hours, the first 7 days to start. And then you can go as micro or macro with this and understand and map out what do they need to watch, do, and believe in order to be a success, in order to get the most out of their investment and the most out of your coaching program. That's it. That's today's episode of Client by Client. In the next episode, in episode 39, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to get clients from your Facebook group. You guys have heard me talk about my own group, talk about Facebook groups versus email list building. Maybe you're wondering, maybe you have a group and it's not pulling clients for you. I'm going to be sharing with you my top 4 tips for how to get clients. There might be some bonus tips along the way for how to get clients from your Facebook group. So be sure to come back to the next episode and be ready for that. Whenever you are ready, here are a few ways I can help you grow your online business. Coaches, are you still managing your pipeline from Instagram DM, Messenger, and your email inbox? Well, you're leaving leads and sales on the table. I hate to break it to you. And this is why I created GetBookedCRM. GetBookedCRM helps you get leads and turn them into clients in half the time. And right now in June 2023, it's 100% free. All you have to do is find me on Instagram and send me the letters CRM to get your free copy. Second, join my free group for online coaches. I've got almost 1,000 coaches and growing from all over the world at varying degrees of experience. And I'd love for you to be one of our members. You'll get access to me, access to them, and access to free weekly trainings and other things I found helpful for growing my online business throughout my day that I share inside of my group. Lastly, become my next success story. Become my next success story. I'm getting some coaches together this month to implement my methods and strategies for injecting a minimum of 15K of new clients into your online business, or doubling your client roster over the next 30, 60, 90 days. But finding the right people is the most important to me. So this is only for you if you are a relationship-focused coach who always puts the person ahead of the money. You've been coaching for at least 1 year. You'd like to get 3 to 5 clients organically every month from social media without wasting money on paid ads. You have at least 300 friends on a social media platform, members in a group, or email list subscribers. You're willing to take bold action because you know your success depends upon it. And last, but most importantly, you can keep a secret. If that's you, I want you to pull out your phone right now and find me on Instagram at WhatUpJeremy and send me a DM with the words case study. When you do that, I'll ask you a couple questions. We'll have a little bit of a conversation, and then I'll share with you what we have coming up this month, how we're already helping other students in the Get Clients program with this, and the results that you can expect in your business, and what will have the highest likelihood of growing your online business the fastest. All you have to do is grab your phone right now and send me the words case study over on Instagram at WhatUpJeremy to get all those details. That's it for today's episode of Client by Client. See you guys tomorrow with another one. Cheers. Okay. Guys, we're back tomorrow talking about getting clients from your Facebook group. And then we're going to be coming back the day after. That's going to be on Monday, about how to get clients from your Facebook profile. So if you want these tips a little bit before they air, a little bit before they get to everyone else, like including today's episode, which I think had some magic for some of you guys, be sure to be coming here live. And that way you can get the goods and maybe you can get some bonus tips. Always share your question while I'm here live. I'd be happy to answer it. That might make the episode better. If not, you'll at least get some free coaching from me. And that can help you grow your business. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Peace.